begin at the Pietermaritzburg High Court. This is where former President Jacob Zuma's plea for lead prosecutor Billy Downer to recuse himself from his corruption trial, which continues this morning. Zuma and French Arms company Thales are accused of corruption in connection with the multi-billion rand arms deal. Our senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo joins us from the court now. Ziyanda, very good morning to you. The comments yesterday that basically no one in the prosecuting authority possibly is fit to try the former president. How is that going to go down with the prosecution team?
It hasn't gone down well at all, and some have even described Vim Trengove, who is representing the NPA, as quite emotional about the attacks that Billy Downer has sustained. You would have recalled that Dalimpofu had said that actually it's not because there aren't other people that shouldn't even have a title to prosecute. Perhaps Leonard McCarthy, Bulelani Ngcobo, and all of them may qualify for actually being stripped of their titles, but it's just that Billy Downer is still there. Vim Trengove saying actually someone like Billy Downer deserves to get an award for the manner in which he's handled himself, the amount of enthusiasm and passion that he's shown in the manner in which that he has conducted himself during this case, and that he's even stood up against his superiors after hearing those spy tapes. So, Koli, when it comes to that, I think it's also an argument that can be made, but ultimately, when it comes to a matter, a special plea in particular, a lot of it needs to be about the evidence. Give us the evidence to show why this person lacks impartiality, integrity to hold the title of being a prosecutor.
Yeah. Ziyanda, last question to you. The issue of medical records. The judge, I wasn't quite clear yesterday when that matter was put to bed as to what is then going to happen to the documents that the team from the correctional services was there with. What happened to those documents ultimately?
Well, ultimately, Koli, Judge Pitkun, I would like to describe it as just letting it go when it comes to the medical records. You recall, Koli, that the former president's legal team, they actually spent time in this court arguing for why the former president needs to be here in person when the special plea is heard. Why the former president wants to, at some stage, even give oral evidence and at some stage cross-examine Billy Downer during this special plea. Of course, this was before the former president was incarcerated. It was before the Court handed down that judgment. And evidently, Koli, Zuma's legal team had no choice but to change tact and actually make a concession that their earlier arguments, they now have to abandon that and say, no, the former president, he's okay with not being here. Why? Because we know that him being granted medical parole is an issue that is even subject to litigation from the DA Afri Forum and the Helen Suzman Foundation. And it was quite clear, Koli, that Dalimpofu was given strict instructions to protect those medical records. So what's going to happen? Well, the matter is probably going to stand down. They may not even need to come back here, because the former president, he was not here in court yesterday, Koli, and the argument and the question that Judge Pitkun asked was, well, how can an accused decide when they can and cannot show up at court? And actually, Judge Pitkun described it as an irregularity of the court. He said, I hope, Mr. Mpofu, that you know that this is an irregularity. But I think ultimately Judge Pitkun just wanted to get on with it. This is a trial within a trial. This special plea was a trial within a trial, and ultimately he wants to get this over and done with so that the actual trial can get ahead. And so with regards to the medical records, I think Judge Pitkun could see with the passion and I describe even the emotion that Dalimpofu displayed when describing Arthur Fraser being subpoenaed to this court. He said it's a backdoor move and they don't want the medical records of the former president flying around. It's because he knows that if those medical records were submitted to to the court, the DA, Helen Suzman Foundation and AfriForum would then be able to come directly to this court to request those medical records in order to be able to deal with the matter against the outgoing National Commissioner regarding his decision to grant former President Jacob Zuma medical parole.
Senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo live for us at the Pietermaritzburg High Court. Thank you very much.